Gas prices have soared over the last 9 weeks. If you've been noticing, it's been taking a big bite out of our wallets. So will runaway gas prices put the brakes on our lives as we know it? Well, Tom Crow, did you bring your crystal ball?
Oh, the SEC and the state regulators don't like me to bring that out.
I have to tell you, I mean, just saying the story, you could hear like somehow the enthusiasm that I seem to have every day it just drains out because this is so upsetting. I mean, the question really is on every driver's mind right now, why? What factors determine the fact that the gas prices are just soaring to exorbitant levels right now?
Well, there's a few things. I mean, the price of oil, of course, is spiking. We've got this thing with Israel and Iran. The Strait of Hormuz, where about 20% of the Middle East oil comes through, they're talking about choking that off. So some of the speculation is that it all comes down to supply and demand, as usual.
Well, that's true.
If they're gonna choke off supply, then the price is going to go up. Demand is going to increase. Price is going to follow.
It's scary. I mean, that's the only adjective I think that accurately depicts what we're all feeling right now. So what actually needs to shift globally then to drive down that price of gas?
Well, either supply is going to have to come up or demand is going to have to drop. So, you know, either we start finding new sources of oil or make it easier to get oil to the refineries to create more gasoline, or people just start driving less.
Is that a realistic hope?
You know, it could be. It depends on a lot of political factors and also the business environment.
Well, yeah, I mean, higher gas prices could certainly pose a very serious threat to the fledgling economic recovery right now, which already has shown signs of strength. But now, you know, we're starting to worry. I mean, typically $4 a gallon, that tends to kind of be at the point at which, like, the gas price starts to just really
kind of a tipping point.
Screw up all the economic growth. I mean, I think it does. And so are we actually going to get to that $4 mark here in New Mexico?
You know, I hope not. I think there's been some speculation that we're going to see $5 nationwide.
Yes.
And I'm hearing reports that it's already hitting $5 in certain places, at least on the coasts.
Yeah.
And you got 47 some odd million people on food stamps. You've got the people that have fallen off the end of the unemployment rolls that just don't have any jobs at all. I mean, if those people are barely making it now, a 30–40% increase in gas prices, which is something everybody uses, it's just a basic commodity, is going to hurt.
It's going to hurt. I mean, this is a question, though. I mean, you mentioned that certain areas are higher. I know that I talked to my family in New Jersey, and here we have lower gas prices in those two states than I know my friends in LA and Florida have. So why are some of the prices higher or lower in some cities versus others?
If I believe what I read, it's that it has to do with proximity towards the refining, proximity to the refining facilities and the cost of transport. If there aren't refining facilities close by and it takes quite a bit of time and distance to get that gas into trucks and to the stations where it needs to be, you know, the further away you have to carry it, the more expensive it is.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. But the question really is, do our country's leaders actually have the power to drive down the cost of gas? I mean, is
Probably
that possible?
not. I mean, somewhat directly. I mean, the first thing they could do is cut taxes.
Well,
I think somewhere between 40 and 60 cents of what you pay per gallon, depending on the state you're in, is just state and federal taxes, and even some local. They could cut that. They could also, you can pass legislation to be a more business-friendly environment to the oil companies. That's not a real popular position right now because they're still reporting record profits. And so giving them a break is probably not going to be too terribly popular.
It's scary. I mean, we're even hearing that the lawmakers are urging President Obama to basically tap the country's reserves, and that's obviously in order to lower the gas prices. But explain what that means in layman's terms.
There's a stockpile of petroleum that's held up. It's supposed to be for emergency purposes only. I think they tapped it last June. Had a brief about a weekend-long impact on prices, and that's when last April, oil hit about 113, which was a kind of a recent historical peak. Then come June, hit the strategic oil reserves, dropped the price pretty much over a weekend. We saw gas prices dip a little bit, come back up, and then they started that gradual decline about towards Christmas time where they hit a low last year.
Which was nice. It was
now they're
nice
on their way back up.
Oh yeah, it was nice to start, you start thinking, you know what, things are getting better.
Like 270, 260, 250, it was like, yeah, this is getting good.
Yeah, especially when you drive a Jeep, trust me. I mean, and so many of us now in SUVs, I mean, it's tough, and so many people have to commute. You know, we want to keep our jobs, but we have to be able to get to our jobs, and if we can't afford to put gas in our car, that's even going to be an issue. So another thing on a lot of people's mind as far as investments go would be, is this a good time to even invest in the energy industry? Because, you know, the saying, if you can't beat them, join them. I mean, what do you think?
I'm just going to say be very careful there. You know, by the time you're hearing you should be investing in energy, on TV and from pundits and other talking heads, it's probably too late. There are probably still some deals out there. If you're careful, you can find some of the energy companies or maybe some of the drilling and exploration companies that are still a little behind the curve, maybe lagging, still a good value for the money. But again, be very careful.
Yeah, I mean, and you're obviously very savvy when it comes to being able to budget your money. Do you have any tip, last minute tip you could offer to somebody that's out there thinking, I need to just get to where I need to get to? What do I need to do to be able to watch my money and still put gas in my car?
One of my favorite things is to look at these websites that you can get a local gas price survey. My local favorite is gasbuddy.com. It's just GASBUDDY.com. Type in your zip code and it'll show you. You can sort by grade, by price, by proximity. What you can usually find is something on your way to work that might be a little bit cheaper. Now that's one way we can impact the price right now, is start buying gas from the less expensive stations.
Great idea. And for our viewers who have some more investment questions, where can they find you?
Please call me here in town, 243-2281. No obligation, no cost for any kind of meeting or discussion. Just give me a call and let's talk.
Oh, Tom, you're so great. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
At least you put a smile on my face on a very unhappy topic.
Well, good.
Have a wonderful week ahead. And coming up next on New Mexico Style, is Kung Fu a good idea for your little grasshopper? Find out next.